This bill is shameful. Those are the words not of an opposition political party or a special interest group, but the Children's Commissioner, the Children's Watchdog, and a man who's not been prone to inflammatory statements in his time in that job. Dr. Russell Wills is talking about a new bill being heard by a parliamentary committee, which he says was originally intended to improve the poor quality of rental housing, but is now failing to achieve that. He's describing the Residential Tenancies Amendment Bill as, and I quote, a wasted opportunity. The Children's Commissioner, whose 5-year term ends in the middle of the year, will be presenting to the Select Committee tomorrow, but tonight he is live in our Wellington studio. Dr. Russell Wills, welcome to Checkpoint. I want to begin with what you have seen about the conditions children, our poorest children, are living in New Zealand. Can you describe what you've seen?
The families that we see on children's ward with respiratory infections, John, often live in appalling housing. This is cold, damp, mouldy. Sometimes it's not fit for human habitation, some of this housing.
And they are presenting with illnesses like bronchiectasis, which you believe, and people like Ines Asher believe, are a direct response to the conditions they're living in.
John, we're paediatricians. We're interested in evidence, not ideology. The evidence is very clear that the only children who get these conditions are children living in cold, damp, mouldy, crowded housing.
Now, people either believe you or they don't. You wrote a thing for the New Zealand Herald in December, and you described conditions like this. The first comment at the bottom of it is that your assessment of poverty is wildly overstated. Is that the case? Is poverty real in New Zealand, and are children living in it?
It is. This is data from the government. So we're not making this stuff up. This is data that's consistent with the same definitions that are used throughout the world, particularly in the OECD and Scandinavia. So there's nothing exceptional about this. 1 in 7 children in New Zealand currently miss out on 6 or more of the basics, things like a warm, dry house, food on the table 3 times a day, their own bed, stationery, warm, dry clothes, those kinds of things. This is not something we just pulled out of the air. This is the government's own figures from reliable school information.
Now, when the 2013 budget came out, suggesting a trial warrant of fitness for private and state housing, government made a promise to New Zealand children: we will make your house healthy. I'm reading from your media statement, but I remember your response to that at the time. You took them at their word, you congratulated them, you celebrated the possibilities, and you looked forward to seeing it happen. Has it happened?
No, John, it hasn't. And that's the really disappointing part about this. I think that the May 2013 statement about a warrant of fitness was a promise to our children. We care about you, and we will do what we can to make your houses healthy. This bill does not do that.
The Residential Tenancies Amendment Bill needs to do what, do you think, in order to address the kinds of conditions you are describing?
There's 3 things that are missing that I think will be quite straightforward and not particularly expensive. The first one is there needs to be a single standard for insulation, and that should be the current code. All houses that are rented to New Zealanders should be at the current code. That should be quite straightforward. The second is we should have a heating and ventilation standard. We've got the most astute researchers in the world who can advise government about what that standard should be and how to do it cost effectively. The third thing is that we need to have an enforcement regime. The people that we're seeing on children's wards never complain to the Tenancy Tribunal. They don't and they won't. So expecting them to go to the tribunal simply won't work.
Your time as Children's Commissioner ends in June, right? And I have a sense, having watched you, that you believe that all you would have to do is explain from a position of calm, dispassionate common sense the conditions that children were living in, and you would be able to effect a change. Are you frustrated by the difficulty you have had in effecting a change?
I think government's done a lot of good things for children in the last 4 years, particularly since we published our Expert Advisory Group's report. So, insulating houses is a good thing to do. Early childhood education is a good thing to do. Raising benefits, $25 a week, those are good things to do. But this is a basic, John. The environment that children, particularly young children, spend most of their time in is their own house. The environment that has the biggest effect on children's health is their house, and yet that's the least regulated aspect of our environment. It simply makes no sense. We should be able to guarantee for all children in our country that they will live in a warm, dry, healthy house. This bill doesn't do that, and I think it should.
And this is the point you will be making to the Select Committee tomorrow.
I will.
Dr. Russell Wills, Children's Commissioner, thank you for joining us on Checkpoint.